Welcome to the lecture series on day 6 on role of cement and supplementary cementitious material SCM in production of environment friendly concrete, which is a way forward towards sustainability. So let me introduce today's speaker, day 6 speaker, Ms. Sonali Durga ma'am, and Sonali ma'am has completed her BTech in Civil Engineering from VVIT Nambur Guntur district in Andhra Pradesh. And she completed her MTech in Structural Engineering from VFSTR, which is in Vignan University, which is Indian University from Andhra Pradesh. And currently she is pursuing in a PhD in Structural Engineering from Vignan University Guntur. She is having a 4 years of research experience. Her area of interest is on fiber reinforced concrete, bacterial concrete, and sustainable cementitious materials. She has published 10 research articles and gave 7 paper presentations at various national and international conferences. So it's my pleasure to have Sonali Sri Durga ma'am here to give a informative lecture for the participants. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to one and all. I once again warm welcome you all for this online lecture series. Hope you all are fine and safe in your places in this pandemic situation. Myself, Chereddy Sonali Sridurga, research scholar from Department of Civil Engineering, VFSTR, was here to give a lecture on bacterial concrete, as this is also known as self-healing concrete also, which is one of the special type of concrete. Coming to the history of self-healing concrete, a scientist named Ferdinand Cohen in 1877 has come up with this backlash genus concrete that will heal the cracks of concrete structures. After a lot of continuing experiments and research, in Jonkers in 2006, a professor from Delft University, Netherlands, has pointed out that this backlash genus bacteria was a perfect healing agent to heal the cracks in the concrete. Coming to introduction, as we all know that concrete is one of the most widely used construction material, which is having high compressive strength and low tensile strength. Because of having low tensile strength and brittle nature, cracks are formed in the concrete. The factors which are responsible for the propagation and development of cracks are uneven settlement, shrinkage, poor design, and repeated application of loads, as these cracks will provide a route for the chlorides and gases to enter into the concrete, which leads to a deterioration of concrete structures. And also these cracks are the major reasons for the reduction of strength and durability. So it is very important to control this crack width, since the repair and rehabilitation of concrete structure is very expensive. This research focuses on development of self-healing concrete, as this inspiration comes from the biological systems which has an ability to heal after being wounded, as this self-healing concrete is also known as bacterial concrete and also bioconcrete. And this self-healing concrete is nothing but is the one which heals itself when it comes into contact with air and water and produces slime on the outer layer of concrete. Here we can see the flow chart which describing the process of self-healing. As a self-healing can be broadly classified into two types. One is autogenous self-healing, other one is autonomous self-healing. In most of the traditional concrete mixes, 20 to 30% of cement particles left separated. In that case, if the packing of concrete occurs, these unreacted cement grains may become exposed to moisture and penetrate the crack. In this, the hydration products may fill up, and this process is known as autogenous self-healing. Usage of external agents for the self-healing process is known as autonomous self-healing. Here we can see a number of external agents that we can use it for a self-healing process. That is superabsorbent polymers. Yes, this polymer is a combination of a cross-linker and also an hydrogel. as these polymers will absorb the water into it and increases its weight as it swells and heal the cracks. And next, crystalline admixtures. These crystalline admixtures are the one that are the chemical ones which reacts with water and fill the cracks by the hydration products. And this also will improve the density of CHF gel. The supplementary cementitious material or nothing but the usage of fly ash and silica fume and JGBS as these particles are very fine. This will fill the pores of the concrete. And chemical agents. The chemical agents are nothing but usage of calcium lactate, calcium gluconate, and calcium acetate to heal the cracks in concrete. And finally, with biological agents, these biological agents are nothing but usage of bacteria to heal the cracks in the concrete, which is our current topic. Why only bacterial agents means? Why only biological agents? That is, bacteria means every healing agent has its own drawback. Coming to the chemical agents, these chemical agents can heal the crack, but it will affect the cement hydration process. Similarly, superabsorbent polymers and crystalline admix are also healing the cracks, but it affects the workability of concrete. Along with that, it is responsible for macro pores formation. So, by having these drawbacks in all these agents, the biological agents was proven as efficient when compared to other agents. And these biological agents can heal the cracks without affecting any concrete performance, as these biological agents are eco-friendly one, and these are biodegradable and possess organic matter which heals the cracks effectively. And coming to economical point of view also, these are better when compared to other healing agents. Coming to mechanism, the spore-forming bacteria was used in the self-healing concrete, as this bacteria will absorb the oxygen, which helps to prevent the internal corrosion of concrete. Along with this bacteria will remain dormant for a period of 200 years. Coming to the mechanisms of self-healing concrete, when cracks are formed in the concrete, the spores of bacteria will get active by consuming the nutrients like water and oxygen and fills the cracks by precipitating these calcite crystals, that is nothing but calcium carbonate. Whatever the process I have stated earlier, that we can see clearly in this image. When cracks are formed in the concrete like this, the bacteria which is present in the concrete may become exposed to moisture and fill the crack by precipitating calcite crystals like this. These are some of the bacteria that can be used for self-healing concrete, especially the bacteria which is producing the enzyme urease was used in self-healing concrete. This urease enzyme will hydrolyze urea into ammonia and carbon dioxide, as ammonia will increase the pH value of surrounding and carbon dioxide combines with the calcium ions, resulting in the formation of calcite crystals in the form of calcium carbonate. These are some of the benefits of self-healing concrete. As with this concrete, the cracks in the concrete are filled up by the products formed by the bacteria, which helps to decrease the pores and also permeability of the concrete structures. Along with this, the overall cost, that is nothing but repair, rehabilitation and maintenance cost of a concrete structures has decreased. In addition to that, the lifespan of a concrete structure was increased with an improvement in mechanical and also durability properties. These are some of the disadvantages of the self-healing concrete, as the bacteria which is used for self-healing concrete needs a specific environment and a specific medium for its growth. So, by considering these constraints, this bacterial concrete is costs more as compared to the conventional concrete. And till now, no codal provisions are found for this self-healing concrete. And the self-healing material can be used to heal the the cracks in concrete, can be used as a precast material, can be used in the formation of bricks, can be used in a cement mortar also. As my research topic is self-healing concrete only, I have chosen 4 types of bacteria, which I have shown the list of bacteria before. And all these 4 bacteria are tested under various microbiological studies. After that, the normal concrete specimens are prepared with M40 grade concrete, and the bacterial concrete specimens are prepared with the 4 different bacterial cultures and with 2 different cell concentrations, and are tested for different mechanical properties, that is compressive strength, split tensile, and flexure strength test. After that, the specimens are cracked with 2 different crack widths, and a normal concrete specimens are set of normal concrete specimens are taken, and the bacterial solution was sprayed on this cracked surface of the concrete. And as the same, this bacterial solution was used as one of the curing agent also. Next, these bacterial concrete specimens are which are cracked or placed at different curing agents, that is at a calcium lactate curing, water curing, and also ambient curing, which is nothing but air. In order to assess its self-healing rate, the ultrasonic pulse velocity test was done. After that, the mechanical behavior of concrete was analyzed by doing compressive and flexural strength test. In order to assess the durability behavior of the concrete, the rapid chloride permeability test, water absorption, open porosity, and acid attack tests are done. And the microstructure behavior of concrete was analyzed by X-ray diffraction analysis and scanning electron microscopy. In my whole research work, I have used the bacteria in 3 ways. That is, one is I have incorporated the bacteria directly into the concrete. That is one way. The other way is I have prepared the bacterial solution, and this bacterial solution was sprayed on the cracked surface of concrete, and the same bacterial solution was used as one of the curing agent also to heal the cracks in concrete. At first, I have purchased the bacteria from National Chemical Laboratory Pune, that is in vial form. After that, the bacteria has to be grown in a nutrient growth medium, and the culture was inoculated like this in this image for its growth, and the whole setup was placed in this incubator shaker for 24 hours at a speed of 85 rpm for 24 hours for its growth. And next, all the microbial tests are done for this bacteria in order to know whether in order to know its growth and its performance. At first, the gram staining process was done in order to know the shape of bacteria and also to know whether it is gram positive or gram negative ones. As these bacterial cultures was taken, and the loopful culture was placed on that plate. And the reagents were added to that bacterial cultures, and these images were taken under a microscope. Here we can see a list of 4 images that was observed under microscope. From these images, we can see that all these 4 bacteria are rod-shaped ones and gram-positive bacteria. Next, biofilm formation. As this biofilm can be defined as a community of microorganisms in which the cells that are frequently embedded with the self-produced matrix. The formation of biofilm by all the 4 cultures was evaluated. By using 2 methods. One is a tube method, another one is microtetraplate method. At first, the nutrient growth medium was prepared, and this medium was placed on an incubator shaker for 72 hours, and the whole medium was discarded, and the crystal violet stain was added to that plates. This is the image of tube method, and this is the image of microtetraplate method, and nomenclature for these both images was shown here. Here in these both images, we can clearly see the formation of blue color, which is nothing but the biofilm formation. Hexapolysaccharide. A phenol sulfuric method was used in order to estimate this exopolysaccharide content. Mainly, this method was used in order to know how the carbohydrate content, and the main role of this exopolysaccharide is to maintain the hydrated environment around this biofilm. At first, the glucose concentrations were prepared, and for that glucose concentrations, the OD values are found, which were represented in table 1. After that, the OD values for the test samples were measured, and by using these two values in table 1, a linear graph was done, and the test sample concentration was found, which was shown in table 2. Higher the test sample concentration, indicating that more formation of exopolysaccharide content. Endospore formation. The endospore staining was done in order to know the spore formulation of bacteria, as these are the images which were taken under microscope after staining process. These endospores are nothing but a bright green vegetative cells which are brownish red or pink in color. From these 4 images, we can say that all these are having this spore forming ability. Next, urease enzyme. The urease test was done in order to know the ability of an organism to form urea through the production of enzyme urease, as the formation of urease enzyme was tested for all these 4 cultures, and this is the image taken at the initial day of start process. After 7 days of observance, we can clearly see here the color of the color was changed from greenish yellow to pink color, representing the formation of urease enzyme, and the nomenclature for these 2 images were shown in here. Next, calcium carbonate formation. The formation of calcium carbonate was evaluated by all the 4 cultures. This is the image taken at the initial day of start process. After 2 days of observance, the HCl was added, and we can see the formation of efflorescence in the form of white precipitate, that is nothing but calcium carbonate. Next, the growth pattern of bacteria was tested at various temperatures, that is starting from 25, 30, 35, 37 and 60 degrees. As the growth pattern of bacteria was measured by using optical density values, which is a direct measure by using UV spectrophotometer, and these are the graphs representing the optical density values with respect to the time. Here we can observe that at a temperature of 25 degrees, Bacillus licheniformis is having the highest growth. At a temperature of 30 degrees, Bacillus subtilis is having highest growth, and at a temperature of 35 degrees, Bacillus subtilis is having highest growth. Next, at a temperature of 37 degrees, here we can observe more growth was found at a Bacillus licheniformis, and at a temperature of 60 degrees, more growth was found at a Bacillus cereus. From all observing all the growth pattern at various temperatures, we get all these bacteria pattern. But coming to the comparison point of view, Bacillus licheniformis is having highest growth. pH values. At first, the nutrient growth medium was prepared, and this medium was adjusted to the acidic, neutral, and basic environmental condition. That is, acidic 1 is 3, neutral 7, and basic all the conditions were taken, and the growth pattern of bacteria was measured by using optical density values. Here we can see the graph representing the optical density values with respect to the pH conditions. Here we can observe that there is a difference and variation for the growth of bacteria at various pH values. Why I have chosen to perform all these microbial studies, that is biofilm, exopolysaccharide, endospores, means the bacteria will undergo at some time the bacteria will has to face an unfavorable condition. That means the environment is not favorable for the bacteria. At that time, it will undergo to the dormant stage. The bacteria has to form a protective layer around itself, that is in the form of biofilm exopolysaccharide endospores. And next, why I have chosen to perform this uroenzyme and calcium carbonate means the bacteria to be used in self-healing concrete has to be uroenzyme in terms of microbiology, and in terms of concrete, it has to be prescribed calcium. So that's why I perform that uroenzyme. And why I have chosen to the growth of bacteria at various temperatures and pH values means as the concrete structure has to be exposed to different temperatures, rain, winter and summer. So it is necessary to know that how this bacteria is going to survive at these different temperatures. And why pH values means as the pH value of the concrete is varying, and the pH, mainly the pH value of concrete is from 12 to 14. So before using the bacteria into the concrete, it is necessary to know how this bacteria is growing at the pH value of concrete and at different pH values. So I perform this test to know how the bacteria is growing at different pH values. Before using the concrete, before using the bacteria in concrete, I have tested microbiologically how this bacteria is growing in the concrete environmental condition by using 1% of concrete ingredients in that microbial pathway. And for this, for evolution of this growth, there are two methods. One is conical flask method, and here we can see how the medium was prepared in the conical flask. And this is the graph representing the growth pattern of bacteria with respect to the optical density values and time, as the optical density values is directly measuring the growth pattern of bacteria. Here we can observe that more growth was found by the backless holodurans. And previously also there are a lot of graphs with this optical density values and with respect to time. You observe that these optical density values are once increasing and then decreasing, decreasing like this. Why this trend is following? Because at first the bacteria has to be adjust to that environment. So initially the optical density value is 0. After the bacteria has starting adjust to that environment and start consuming the nutrients, there is an increase in value, and after that nutrients goes on decreasing, then there is the OD value went to stationary. After that, after consuming all the nutrients by the bacteria, there are no availability of nutrients, then there is a decrease in these optical density values. And this is another method to know the growth of bacteria, that is Petri plates method. Here in this image we can clearly visibly see by the naked eye the growth of bacteria. After conducting all the microbial studies, the bacteria was used in the concrete, and the specimens are cracked for two different crack widths in order to assess the healing rate. At first, the set of normal concrete specimens are taken, and the bacterial solution was prepared of 4 different bacterial cultures with 2 cell concentrations. Here you can see the cell concentrations of bacteria, and the bacterial solution was sprayed like this on the cracked surface of concrete for almost 28 days. After the 28 days, the ultrasonic pulse velocity test was done to assess that healing rate, as this UPV was used to measure the quality, strength, and also velocity of these concrete specimens. In this image, you can clearly observe the formation of white precipitate on the cracked surface of concrete, which is nothing but a calcium carbonate representing the crack healing. And these are the graphs representing the ultrasonic pulse velocity values with respect to curing period, as UP values are measured starting from the initial day of 0 and then 3 and 7, 14, 28. Here we can observe that as the curing time goes on, as the spraying of bacterial solution time goes on increasing, the UV values also starts increasing. Means this bacteria will precipitating calcite crystals, which heals the pores and also cracks in the concrete, represented by the increase in UPA values. As the UPA values goes on increasing, represents that the number of voids, cracks, or pores goes on decreasing. As these UPA values are low, means there are number of cracks. From this image, we can clearly say that more healing rate was found by the backless halodurin solution sprayed concrete specimens. And next, like this, I have conducted the mechanical properties and durability studies also. And now here I am showing the SEM analysis. As the SEM analysis, scanning electron microscopy was done in order to know the morphology of the concrete. Here we can see the image of normal concrete and the concrete that was sprayed with the different bacterial solution. In the normal concrete SEM image, here you can observe the void space, but in the next 4 images that were sprayed with bacterial solution, no void space was found. We can clearly see the calcite and CSH gel formation in all these 4 images. And in this, in the last image, we can clearly see the partial healing of cracks, which was found in the same image. And these are some of the publications of my research work that were in Elsevier and Springer Publishers. This is one of my research articles that I have published in Material Journal by using all the microbial test results. And these are some of the references and the journals I have attached here. Thank you one and all. And I am very thankful to the management of Sri Chaitanya College, Sriram sir, and the faculty members of Civil Engineering Department. Once again, thank you one and all, and sorry for the technical issue.
It's not an issue, ma'am. Thank you for informative session. Yes, ma'am. There are few questions, ma'am. Can I?
Sure, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What is the safety measure to be taken in process of bacterial growth?
As this bacteria was grown in a microbial laboratory, in that laboratory there is one chamber which does not contaminate that bacteria. So that was safety measure taken for not contaminating the bacteria for its growth.
Yes, ma'am. And one more question is that how much percentage of bacteria added? What is the mixed proportion?
The bacteria was not added in percentage. It can be added in terms of cell concentration. That is, as per the mixed design, we have to take for 1 ml of water, how much bacteria we have to use. I have used 10 power 9 and 10 power 9 and 10 power 8 cell concentration. In terms of cells means 5.79 into 10 power 12 and 5.79 into 10 power cells. For 1 ml of water, I have used this much of cells of bacteria in terms of mixed proportion.
Madam, is bacteria affect the workmanship?
No. As this bacteria is non-pathogenic, it does not affect any person, people, or anyone.
Yes, ma'am. So these are the questions, madam. And thank you very much, madam. Really, thanks a lot, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, one more question. Which bacteria is used in self-healing concrete?
As the bacteria which is producing the enzyme urease has to be used in self-healing concrete, and before using any bacteria into the concrete, the basic test has to be done whether it will work out or not to heal the cracks in concrete. Mainly the bacteria that produces urease enzyme has to be used in self-healing concrete, as I have shown some list of bacteria in the slideshow also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, over to Sriram, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Sonali.
Sir.
Once again, I am asking the question, ma'am. He is asking that whether the bacteria is affecting the workman or not. And the same question, it is once again asked by another people, safety measures to be taken in the process of bacterial growth as well as using in concrete. Can you once again rephrase your sentences?
Sure, sir. As the bacteria which we use in self-healing concrete was non-pathogenic one, so it does not affect any workmanship. No need of any precautions. First, initially, microbiological laboratory, we have to take care of ourselves, because there are some bacteria in that microbiological lab which affects the people also. So for that only you have to take precautions. But for using the bacteria to use in self-healing concrete, no safety measures has to be taken, because myself I have cultured all the bacteria and I have performed all the tests. I am safe only. There is that bacteria is not harmful.
So whatever the bacteria that are being used in concrete, you mean to say that they are non-pathogenic? So
Yes, sir.
yes, and they are going to produce this calcium carbonate, which can heal the cracks that are present in the concrete.
Yes, sir.
So once again, I am asking Ma, for the sake of my students, how the cracks are being formed in concrete, and what is the size of the crack that can be healed with this type of bacteria?
Okay. Yes, sir. I have cracked the specimens by taking the initially I have prepared the specimens and I tested for compressive strength, and I have taken the average value of this compressive strength. For example, it is 40 MPa, means I have taken 65% of that 40 MPa and 75% of that 40 MPa for cracking the concrete specimens. And these bacteria will heal only surface cracks. No, not bigger cracks was not healed by the bacteria. Maybe it takes some more and more time to heal that much cracks. Initially, definitely this bacteria will heal the surface cracks. Our intention is to not to make the cracks bigger size. Initially, we can heal the surface cracks and protect the structure. That's it, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ma. Thank you, Sonali, for giving a
Thank
great
you, sir.
for the sake of this lecture series. Thank you, one and
Thank you
all.
so much, sir.
Yeah, over to Abhinay.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Sonali, ma'am, and thank you for an informative
Abhinay, sir.
session, and an informative session of day 6.